Hi, welcome to Bad Music Taste and Other Ways to Ruin Your Life. My name is Dominic.
And my name is Sam. Dominic is a record this week.
This week's record is assigned B is for B-Sides Test Pressing by Less Than Jake. This record was released in 2020, and this copy is an original pressing. Anyways, today we're talking to artist Lori Herbst. How's it going, Lori?
Very well, thank you.
Absolutely. So what made you want to take up art in the first place?
Well, I actually was doing wastewater remediation for a while. And then when 9/11 happened, wastewater stuff kind of dried up, no pun intended. And so I needed something else to do. And I had just had a baby. So my in-laws bought me a sewing machine. So I started kind of playing around with it. And then I started working for Chris Sherry. My husband works for the drama department at Lincoln High School. So I started doing costumes for them. And then I started kind of making purses for the kids when they did a good job or made them tote bags or whatever. Then I got kind of bored with that. So I started doing portraits, and that's kind of been the last, 12 years.
Yeah, and kind of speaking about Chris Sherry, would you say being married to another artist has helped keep you motivated?
Oh, definitely. Actually, when I first got started doing this, I would come up to him all the time and say, this looks terrible. And I don't know the shading under his nose looks like a Hitler mustache or whatever. And he would help me figure it out. So then it didn't look like that anymore. Now I don't do that as much, but at the beginning I really needed his help with a lot of stuff. So it was really handy to have him around. He's an art teacher. That's what he trained for. So
yeah, Chris was one of our very first interviews last year.
He's fun, isn't he?
It was I don't think we had talked to anybody that high energy besides Doug Carrion.
Yeah, he's on all the time. He wakes up in the morning like that. He's dancing around, and I'm sitting there, and he gives me a cup of coffee, and I just kind of stare at him while he's dancing. And after a while, I catch up. But yeah, he's the most high energy person I know.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, this guy's a high school teacher.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to like keeping yourself kind of motivated and pushing yourself with art. Would over the course of the pandemic, what were some things that kept you creative and kind of kept you making art?
Well, I had a couple of shows come up, so I kind of had deadlines that I had to meet, and that helped a lot keep me busy, because it was really, I don't have a problem. I would work all the time if I didn't, have family and things to do. That's just kind of my nature. But when they're around, it's pretty great. So we were having a good time watching movies and hanging out, and so that was a little bit harder. I don't really have a problem with motivation. I like to work.
Yeah, and you have an art show coming up. I guess going on now. Sorry, called All Them Witches. So what does your art show entail?
It's down at the Last Bookstore in Los Angeles, and Cactus Gallery, the gallery that I'm working with, wanted to do a witch-based show, and she wanted me to be one of the featured artists. There's two of us, and so I just kind of explored witches. I had done some witch stuff previously that was more honoring like real witches. So I found a witch in LA who's a very, very nice lady. I did a portrait of her, and this time I wanted to kind of have fun. So I dressed some kids up in some Halloween costumes and took some pictures of them and did a portrait of them. And I did one that looked like a paper doll, and I had a little outfit that you could put on her and different things like that. So there's I have 10 pieces in that show, and I think about 6 of them are gone, but yeah, it's going on. So if anybody who's listening is in LA, go and take a look. There's a bunch of art there, and it's all really good.
Oh, you're selling the art too?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where is it for anybody listening?
It's at the Last Bookstore in LA.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a really cool bookstore too. That if you've ever seen, there's on Instagram, you'll see pictures of like it looks like a tunnel of books that kind of goes up over your head. I'm sure you've seen it before. That's the last bookstore. They have the giant, look like books are cascading down the side. It's very cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so out of curiosity, like with your art, do you prefer to do more like realism stuff like you were saying, like taking photos and kind of going from there, or are you like more illustrative with stuff?
No, I like photorealistic stuff. I just for the medium that I use, I think it's really interesting to make things that are as photorealistic as possible because it's odd. It's an odd medium to work with, and to be able to do something that's recognizable is I really like that. I started out when I was just beginning, just doing straight, portraits of photos and now I tend to be more creative with what I do. But I like the realistic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely two different worlds, but I'm even interested in like tattoo artistry and stuff like that, and I've looked a lot into that. So photorealism like makes me happy because I think it's so cool how people can take one thing and just like translate it. It's so cool to me.
Definitely. So you do tattoos?
I don't, because I don't think it's legal yet.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah, that's probably true, huh? I thought, yeah.
I mean, I've like been interested in it since I was like very young though, and I watched like all the stuff on it. And my parents are probably sick of how much like I watch about it, but I don't know if I have the artistic ability to hold up to something like that. But I could probably like delve into that piece. I don't know. I find it really fascinating to watch stuff be like transferred onto skin like that.
I do too, and I really want to try tattooing in orange because I see people doing that, and it looks really awesome.
Yeah, I see people do that.
Like if you put it on somebody's skin, it didn't turn out right, you might be freaked out. But if you put it on an orange, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing that would probably ever stop me like from tattooing it or something like that would be like the fact that if I mess up, it's it's on someone else. Like I can't just be like, oh, it's fine. I'll be like, that's not okay. That's you. That's your body.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I started out doing costuming, and then I had some people asking me to do wedding dresses, and it's the same type of thing. I don't want any responsibility for your big day. That's all you go and there's 100 dresses out there. Go buy one. Yeah.
I had a friend who over the pandemic got a tattoo gun and started like tattooing like watermelons.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know what she's doing with tattooing now.
How the watermelons look.
Oh, the watermelons were awesome.
So cool. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I've seen that like all over social media, and they have like the second skin like that you can tattoo on. It's like, I think it's just like a fake, like almost like rubbery material that you can do stuff on. I don't know. It's
really?
Just cool to me.
Oh,
yeah,
it's amazing. I'll have to look into that because it seems like it's really fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be allowed to get it for the sole reason that my parents would probably be concerned I'd like accidentally get it on myself and just have like a random like dot.
Accidentally. Whoops.
Right. Like I just have like a random
big tattoo on my arm. Oops.
Whoops. There's like a whole piece, they probably wouldn't, be too.
There's lots of time. You can do it
later. Right. But so kind of going back to what Dom said earlier, kind of being sort of surrounded by art with, Chris's work and yours. Do you ever find yourself kind of needing to take a step back from it and kind of look at other stuff?
I recently we got hacked on Facebook, and my Instagram was tied in with the Facebook, and they put some very inappropriate stuff on Facebook. So they shut down the Facebook account, but they also shut down my Instagram account. And I had a pretty big following. And so then I had to start from zero again. And at that point I went, do I just want to get a job at a grocery store and not do this anymore? That was very, just walking in and having everything gone was very defeating. But yeah, that's about it. I didn't quit.
Yeah, I mean, we're glad you didn't. Like, it's great to continue. Yeah, but I mean, I get that. It's quite the defeating feeling to have that because kind of everything's stripped away from you. But I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, we're glad that you continued with it.
Thank you. I'm kind of glad. Sometimes I'm glad. Sometimes I think that grocery store seems pretty good, just putting stuff up on shelf.
Yeah, because my aunt actually does like art and like commission stuff, and I've kind of heard some stuff from her about it. And she said like it's fun, but sometimes it's hard because you kind of get a bit of like that block, which I feel like happens in anything creative, because like writing and stuff like that, like writers and everything, authors, poetry, I feel like you kind of always get stuck at a certain point.
Right. Yeah. Commissions, I like commissions because when I'm working on a piece, I generally have podcasts and documentaries and all, books that I can listen to all about whatever I'm working on. So whatever they want me to work on, I tend to look into, which that kind of keeps it interesting for me. But yeah, there are some times when you just don't have it in you.
Yeah. But are there any like specific subjects or people, I mean obviously with commissions, but like with other stuff as well, have there ever been like certain subjects or people that you kind of drawn inspiration from for your art, kind of like you were talking about with the witches, how it was like a theme? Do you ever have other moments like that?
Almost always. I tend to really find, and if Chris is doing a play, I tend to help him out with that. So I do a lot of research with that, and that tends to drive a lot of the things that I'm working on, because if he's working on the Crucible, then I'm looking up stuff from the 1600s, or just whatever ties in with that. So that leads me down paths a lot. I do a lot of work with a gallery called Sugarmint Gallery, and they do horror. And I do a lot of horror art. I love horror. I'm a horror person. So I tend to watch a lot of horror movies and that kind of thing too. So, I'm watching what I like and doing what I like. It works out really well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel that 100%. I am a huge horror fanatic, probably because my mom is kind of the same way. So she's always kind of showed me stuff, but like since I think first grade was when I started watching them, and because she didn't want to get me, like traumatized from some of them. But like I'm a huge fan of that kind of stuff. Like for Halloween, a few weekends ago, I was, have you ever seen the Saw movies?
Yeah.
I was the puppet. I was like Billy the puppet.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, we like bought a tricycle for it and everything. It was so funny. But like, yeah, so I'm huge into that. So I totally get that. Like I like it because some people think they're just like scary, but I like some that have thought behind them. Because okay, there's some that are just slashers. Like they're just a bunch of people screaming, and
those are great too.
I know they have their time. They have their time. But I like the psychological stuff too. Like, have you seen the remake of The Invisible Man?
Yes,
that was one of my favorites, because it was just like it wasn't predictable, and it was a totally new take, and I loved it.
Right. Yeah, I liked how they worked the technology into there too. I really have been. That's another thing with the witch show that I've really been enjoying is one of the pieces I did was of 11 from Stranger Things, because she's basically a modern witch, and the story is always the same. Like, there's somebody who has some sort of knowledge or power that other people are afraid of, and they, it's a hunt for the witch.
Yeah, I mean, we are both fans of Stranger Things, so I know like that was awesome. But I agree. I think it's cool how they can take different like takes of the same story, and kind of shift it to fit into its own universe. And I like that, with like archetypes and stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Lori, thank you so much for your time. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was really fun.
Thank you so much. Of course. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.